Hey guys, hope you're doing well. My name is Rob. Welcome to Kinetic Rugby League. In this video, I'll be giving you my Week 1 Pacific Championships predictions. So we're going to be starting with Australia versus Tonga in the Pacific Cup, then moving on to Fiji versus Papua New Guinea in the Pacific Bowl. I'll go through the team lists that have currently been announced as of right now. So I'll go through those, I'll talk about the game a little bit, and then give my predictions towards the end of each of their sections. So let's crack on with the first game of this week. Starting with the team list of Australia, in the backs they have Dylan Edwards, Xavier Coates, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, Tom Trbojevic, Zach Lomax, Tom Dearden and Mitchell Moses. In the forwards is Patrick Carrigan, Harry Grant, Lindsay Collins, Angus Crichton, Cameron Murray and Isaiah Yeo. On the bench is Matt Burton, Mitch Barnett, Ruben Cotter and Hudson Young. In the reserves is Ben Hunt, Lindsay Smith, Reece Robson and Bradman Best. Moving on to the team list for Tonga, in the backs they have Leahy Hopoate, Daniel Tupou, Moses Suli, Paul Alamotti, Sione Katoa, Tui Lolohea and Isaiah Katoa. In the forwards is Adam Fanua-Blake, Saliva Havili, Felice Kafusi, Hamal Olukwatu, Eliesa Katoa and Jason Taumalolo. On the bench is Sonny Luke, Satili Tupanua, Taniela Paseka and Keen Kalamatangi. In the reserves is Tolu Kula, Siwa Wong, Isaiah Ayongi and Kulakefu Finafeuaki. So the first thing that I notice with these team lists is that the spine for me leans towards Australia in terms of speed, experience and quality in some areas. So first of all, Edwards versus Hopoate, I think we can all agree that that heavily leans towards Dylan Edwards. Onto the number 6 position, Tom Dearden versus Lolohea. Experience very clearly goes in favour of Tui Lolohea, but in terms of overall quality, speed right now, and what they've been producing over the last couple of years, it does lean towards Tom Dearden for me. But the experience of Lolohea can't be overstated, especially on the international level. He's played plenty of games for Tonga, so that's certainly something that he can offer, is experience. Then you've got Mitchell Moses versus Isaiah Katoa. Katoa has come leaps and bounds this season. For Tonga last year in the series against England, I don't think he did enough in terms of controlling the game. But being alongside players like Cody Nikarima in the halves for the Dolphins this year in the NRL has certainly allowed him to take a huge step up as a recognised number 7 with a kicking game, controlling things. Now, with Mitchell Moses, it's a different beast. That's the problem. Mitchell Moses, we've seen the impact he can have, especially in the State of Origin series. We know the kind of impact he can have for a team. And then Harry Grant versus Saliva Havili. Havili for me is a little bit too static, a bit too stationary. Doesn't really have that quick ruck speed for me personally. Whereas Harry Grant can kind of do it all. So that's the first thing, is the spine. Next, the centre matchups. It's going to be a bit of a tricky one. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow and Tom Trbojevic. They've got more speed and experience compared to Moses Suli and Paul Alamotti. I didn't know much about Alamotti at the start of this NRL season. I didn't really know anything. But the one thing that I do know is the fact that he keeps getting minutes for the Panthers and kept getting minutes all the way up to the NRL Grand Final indicates to me that he's a reliable player. If he wasn't reliable for the Panthers team, 1, we'd hear about it, and 2, he wouldn't be playing. If the Panthers needed to move away from him, considering he was replacing Stephen Crichton this year, then they would have moved on, and they didn't. They kept him in all the way up until the NRL Grand Final. So, to me, I didn't know much about him at the start of the season, but at least I know as a bare minimum now, he's reliable, which is a good sign. Suli, I think, has had a pretty decent season as well, but Tabuai-Fidow and Tom Trbojevic have had some experience this year in the centres with Manly, and in State of Origin as well for Tabuai-Fidow. I think their pace and their experience in that position might just give them the edge over Tonga. However, if you look at the players just inside of those in the second row, Angus Crichton, yes, he's had a fantastic year. Same with Cameron Murray. Versus Hamal Olukwatu and Eliesa Katoa, I'm giving that to Tonga. I think Angus Crichton, my apologies, has been excellent this season. But Olukwatu is an absolute beast, as we know. And Eliesa Katoa has been phenomenal. In that right second row position, I don't know who's going to be left and right. I think it's Katoa's probably going to be on the left. But Katoa has been brilliant for Storm this season. And I think could offer a hell of a lot. And possibly a try or two in this game as well. Yeo versus Taumalolo. In terms of meters, I'm going to give it towards Taumalolo. But Yeo can still offer plenty through the middle. But in terms of technical ability and I think IQ, I'm going to give it towards Isaiah Yeo. I think he's the best 13 in the game. And therefore has the edge over Jason Taumalolo for me. I think in terms of the impact off the bench, in the forwards, that should be won by Tonga. So the size in the forwards leans towards Tonga for me heavily. They've got to win through the middle, like they must. the impact that they can have is huge. With Taniela Paseka, Tupanua, Kian Kalamatangi, it's ridiculous, the kind of firepower that they've got. And Sonny Luke is a pretty quick hooker as well, who can offer a lot of speed through the middle. If they're not getting it from Havili, Sonny Luke can provide that. The final thing, it does lean in terms of quality for the most part towards Australia. So the way for Tonga to win in this game is you've got to beat them through the middle. That's the first thing. You've got to jam into the right players at the right time. So you've got to limit the time that Moses, Dearden and Edwards get on the ball. Make sure you slow down the ruck as much as possible. And you've just got to make sure that your kick chases are on point. The kicks from Katoa need to be well placed. The kick chases need to be good. You've got to pin them back and limit the time on the ball for the key players. And you've got to be strong and disciplined defensively. And if you just get all the little basics right, I think Tonga could have a real say in this. But I think the level of quality from the Aussies is too good in too many positions to kind of get locked into a trap. So in terms of a score prediction, I'm going to go with Australia 30, Tonga 18. Moving on to Fiji versus Papua New Guinea, starting with the team list of Fiji. In the backs, they have Sonia Taruva, Micah Sivo, Michael Jennings, Wanga Blake, Semi Valame, Kevin Nagama, and Kurt Donahue. In the forwards is Tui Kamikamitha, Penioni Tagitua-Mua, Ben Nakabue, Viliami Kikau, Kitioni Katoga, and Caleb Navale. On the bench is Joe Lavadua, Tanya Milne, Kylan Mafoa, and Jordan Miller. In the reserves is James Valavatu, Ronald Filatoga, Nathan Keg King, and Ratu Rinikama. Moving on to the team list of Papua New Guinea. In the backs, they have Nenny McDonald, Elijah Roltinga, Robert Matthias, Roderick Tai, Robert Darby, Cal Labert, and Lachlan Lamb. In the forwards is Valentine Richard, Judah Rimbu, Jacob Alec Weinke, Reese Martin, Jeremiah Simbikin, and Jack DeBellin. On the bench for Papua New Guinea is Liam Horn, Koso Bandi, Sylvester Nemo, and Ila Alu. And in the reserves is Dan Russell, Sani Weibo, Morea, and currently 21 is unnamed. So to talk about this game a little bit, I think there's a pretty even mix of quality and experience in the backs for both teams. I have my concerns with Fiji though. In terms of personnel, having Taruva at fullback is not an issue at all. Okay, he's played fullback in the Rugby League World Cup for Fiji. He was an exceptional talent. It's the first time I'd really seen him, got to learn about him, and since he's been playing at the Panthers, regular first team games, I think he's been fantastic and extremely reliable. So no issues with him there. Micah Sivo and Semi Valame on the wings, no issue for me really. Plenty of experience and, bit of youth, bit of speed in there as well is always good. Jennings and Blake, a little bit of the same. Blake's not had the best season at St. Helens in Super League, but wasn't too bad for Fiji in last year's Pacific Championship. And Michael Jennings, plenty of experience, can offer a lot of value there. My biggest issue is Kevin Nagama at 6. Now, I understand it. If you don't have another player to put in the halves, you basically put in your most experienced player. I believe he's the oldest in this squad. I could be wrong, but he's one of the oldest at least. So it makes a little bit of sense to me that you take your oldest player or one of the oldest with plenty of experience. Yes, he hasn't really played in the halves that much in his career, I don't think. He's mostly been a centre as far as I'm aware. But there's the potential for a decent run game. He does still, in his old age, have a little bit of pace on him as well. And due to some, intelligence that he would have picked up during his playing career, could offer a bit of value in that number 6 role. But I think that's a big question mark. And then pair that with Kurt Donahue at 7, I don't know if he's going to be able to control the game. So, in contrast to Papua New Guinea, Nenny McDonald will kind of have to see what he's like as a number 1. I don't think he's going to have to be forced to do too much. I think as long as he can be reliable with the high ball, which I think he can, he's already a fairly tall player as it is, and he's been really reliable for Salford in Super League this year. That's a good start. And then Cal Labert and Lachlan Lamb, first of all, there's consistency with their partnership. They've played together the last couple of years, not at club level, but for PNG, so there's that consistency already. I think as partnerships go, they're better individually in those positions compared to what Fiji can offer. With their experience, their quality, their speed, they can just offer more there. And I think that's going to be the difference maker. I think it's kind of the same for the forwards. There's a good mix of experience, a good mix of quality in different areas, and there'll be some interesting matchups that'll come up from this one. So I think Kamikamitha could get the upper hand in the forward pack. But then you got players like Reese Martin on one side against Katoga. Could be interesting. He could get the upper hand there. But then Kikau on the other side against Simbikin, if that's how they are going to be matched up, could get the upper hand on Fiji's side. Then Navali versus Jack de Belin, I give it towards Jack de Belin based on experience mostly. But the bench is the same as well. There's a good mix of quality and experience, but for me, it leans slightly towards Papua New Guinea, but nothing major. So there's good matchups all over, but ultimately for me, what it comes down to is the consistency and quality in the halves. With how good Lachlan Lam's been, and with how good like Cal Labert can be, it just leans massively in the 6 and 7 positions. Everywhere else, I think there's really good matchups, but it's just the 6 and 7 is what does it for me towards PNG. So with that being said, I'm going to go with Fiji 12, Papua New Guinea 36. So that is going to be it. Just to let you guys know, I might stream these games. And I can't show the live footage, but I might be streaming both of these games. So if you can't find the game for whatever reason, you want to stop by, have a chat during the live stream, you know, I can commentate over the game. You can ask some questions about how certain things are going. I'll do my best to answer them and keep you updated on the live action as we go. So look out for that stuff. Keep notifications on for the channel. But if you enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with Rugby League content. If you want to support the work that I do for this channel, you can join and become a member just by clicking the join button below this video and signing up today. But that's going to be it. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.